Can you talk first about what your style says about you?
I have certain uniforms that I can easily put on that I feel like comfort me and protect me.
Can you talk about assumptions that other people have about you based on your style?
I think maybe because I exude confidence, they're afraid. I'm not the mom that drops my kids off in yoga pants and running shorts.
Can you take the vest off and throw it down?
I have 9-year-old twins that are quirky and magical, and my son wakes up in the morning and puts on, a Moroccan jalaba necklace and goes to school. And the kids are like, it's not costume day. And he said, but it's Moroccan. And so that gives the kids that are wearing their football, athletic attire a chance to say, oh, well, he's quirky, doesn't brush his hair, and he's wearing this Moroccan getup. I hope that spirit is never quashed by social constructs. And my daughter, on the other hand, she's blind, and so it's really kind of fun to see how she relates to clothing. We have this expression in our house that Zelda hugs the homeless. And so we'll go out on the street and she'll meet someone and she's, she pats them and hugs them and, hi, how are you? It's all tactile, and her style is, spreading this magic.
Necklaces? You have a tremendous amount of courage, and you have an amazing outlook on life, and I'm wondering where that comes from.
Meeting my husband, who I finally found somebody that understood me and wasn't afraid of me and wasn't wanting to take the upper hand or be subservient. I always had these very uneven relationships. We've been through so much, especially in the past 9 years, between cancer and the kids being born early and both of my parents dying, and Zelda just had 11 brain surgeries, and Creed will come home and be like, Mom, the kids in 3rd grade don't even know what brain surgeries are. And we're just like, I guess why would they? But I always say, oh, Creed, well then that's your chance to tell them. The kids were born with congenital toxoplasmosis, which is a parasite that affects the eyes and the brains, and they both have shunts in their brains, which drain cerebral spinal fluid from their brains down their necks, tubes that go into their abdomens. And she also has a seizure disorder. So she had a seizure. They discovered that her tube was cracked, and they went in to operate, took it out and put in a new one. And it turns out that one got infected. And then it just was this spiral of every 5 to 10 days, an abscess in her chest or another infection, or she pulled out the exterior drain that they had put in while she was going through antibiotics, and she wasn't eating, so they had to put in an NG tube in her nose, and it went on for 3 months. And so that was what our spring was like. Creed was shuffled around either with me or with Evan or with amazing friends and families that would call and say, we'll take him. And Creed is just like, I could say, hey, Creed, you're going to New York to stay with these guys. He'd be like, cool, let's go. That's not to say that Evan and I are like, fuck, why are we always the ones? And, people come up with their little, well, God only gives you what you can handle. And of course, I'm like, fuck God, stop giving us this shit. And so when people stop and say, oh, I'm so sorry for your daughter's blindness, I'm like, why are you sorry? Why are you sorry at all? Why don't you stop and say, hey, look at this kid. Wow, this is great. And ask questions or learn something. But right now, we're just working on reading and vocabulary and, Mom, what's a shadow? And I've got to give her the definition of a shadow without using any visual references. And it just, I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? I have to pick out the words that she already knows and is identified. It's almost like, Zelda, you're standing there and the sun is shining on you. And if you feel your back, it's like that Peter Pan thing. If you feel your back, there's a copy of you. A friend of mine gave me this example to tell Zelda. And then if Creed was standing behind you, but he really wasn't there, but it's like, there's another one of you behind you, and then I drive myself crazy. I remember, when she was potty training, and I'm like, please, somebody tell me how to, get her to pee on the potty. And Zelda, this is a toilet. And, we had to stick her hand into the toilet. I peed on her hand to teach her that this is where it, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a whole thing that you have to figure out. Right now, I'm doing a show in a month, and the basis of the collection is called Unprecious. I'm doing these silk blouses with wine stains all over them because a friend of mine once called me and he said, oh, I have this beautiful silk linen vest and somebody spilled red wine on it. How do I get it out? I'm like, you don't get it out, you spill more on it. Bridging that gap between, this commercialism of everything has to be luxury and so perfect and beautiful. Life is precious. Clothes aren't precious. It's the unpreciousness of clothes that makes them more interesting, I think.
Can you talk about the biggest struggle that you've had in your life that you've turned into a strength?
I've had, cancer, and I've gone through cancer treatment, but none of it compared to what I think my kids go through and what they live through every day. Our family turns that into a strength by showing that we're not beaten, we're still going.
Socks. When do you feel the most vulnerable?
When I'm feeling unloved. If Evan and I are having a disagreement, or if I really am missing my parents and I don't have their spirit and their support. But then I've got my kids, and that's just, that makes it okay. So that probably would be when I'm not feeling most fallen.
Overall. When do you feel the most beautiful?
I feel beautiful with my children. When I wake up with them in the morning, when I go to bed with them at night. I guess it has more to do with the surroundings than me.
Sure. Can you talk a little bit about why you opted to not have the reconstruction?
It was more my confidence as opposed to insecurity. It was funny growing up. My mom and 3 daughters, and none of us had big breasts, and we all had different views on that. I always saw it as this beautiful advantage of never having to buy a bra. My mother was always like, wear a padded bra so you're more feminine. I'm like, I'm feminine. I don't have to wear a padded bra to show that. And I've never had to buy a bra, and I had beautiful, perfect breasts that I was very proud of. And then when they said they had to come off, my immediate reaction was, so they come off. There wasn't even a thought of putting them back on. And Evan and I, my husband and I, have talked about it, and he misses it. We're very honest about it. And I said, this is my decision and this is who I am. He said, yes, I respect that, but it still doesn't mean I don't miss your breasts. Am I any less beautiful to him? I don't think so. He's never said that.
And you don't feel that?
No. But I did go through the motions because my husband was like, well, how about if they can make them exactly like they were? And I did. I went and saw several surgeons just to kind of appease my oncologist and my husband and myself, the curiosity of it. And I did. I went, and nobody gave me the right answer. And my oncologist finally said, no matter what they do to you, you're going to constantly look at it and you're not going to be happy because you want it to be the way it was. It's never going to be the way it was. So you can either mourn that, move forward, or get reconstruction. And I'm like, I'm just going to move forward. And this is who I am now. And it's actually delightful. I have no problem with it. Sure, my scars ache. My nipples talk sometimes, the invisible ones.
You feel them?
Yeah.
Last question. Can you talk about why in your body it's a good place to be?
My body is kind of a roadmap of everything I've lived through. Do I mourn my body? Yes, my ovaries are gone, my breasts are gone, but now it's just a new chapter and it's just moving on and changing. And if we don't change and evolve and move forward as opposed to going backwards to try to recreate what we had, you're static, you're not evolving.
That was great. You obviously have unbelievable parents.
I really think I did, and they were not, like I said, they were Depression era parents. They were amazing.